Muy buenos a todos, chicos, chicas, reyes, reinas, y bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo para el canal. Hoy continuamos con la misión de Dehya. En el episodio anterior estuvimos hablando con el padre de Tunjarzad, que básicamente pues descubrimos que efectivamente era él el que estaba suministrando a los eremitas malos, a las bandas peligrosas. Pero como que tenía una buena razón, entre comillas, porque básicamente pues tampoco podía dejarle morir ahí siendo su amigo, ¿sabéis? Así que bueno, dice de noche, está atardeciendo, creo. Vamos a ayudar un poco a que anochezca. Yo creo que con esto es suficiente, correcto. Es que el reloj es rarillo, no es como el normal, por así decirlo. Vale, ya es de noche. Pero que tengo que entrar. Ah, no, es este, ¿no? Ya what.
Huh? Who are you guys?
I know what you've been up to. Smuggling weapons to violent brigades in the desert while working for the Corps? Pretty bold, if you ask me.
Shh! Keep your voice down. How do you know all that? Come with me. We should take this elsewhere. I'll be happy to talk things over once we're somewhere private.
Vale, nos vamos a dar lugar más
This
privado.
place should do. Alright, back to my question. How did you all know about me?
Don't worry about that for now. You know what kind of punishment you'll face once we report you to the Corps, I assume.
Wait, there's no need to jump the gun. Let's talk this out. What are your terms?
So what's in it for you anyway, Mora?
Well, I was a little tight on money at the time, and Kusela took good care of me in the past. I waited in my mind, and I couldn't find a reason to turn the opportunity down. I wouldn't only be helping my benefactor, but I could also make some quick Mora.
Let me tell you how it is. We're investigating Khan Al-Ahmar, and we're gonna put an end to their operations. If you provide some help for us, then we might just put in a good word later to reduce the terms of your punishment.
Hey, why don't we discuss this a little first? Listen, I made quite a bit of Mora from my last run. Just give me a number, and I'm sure we can...
Shut it. My patience is running out. You should know when a mercenary is after something other than money.
All right, sheesh. But you gotta promise you'll put in some nice words for me later. They're always on the move. Here's the spot they were at the last time I made my delivery to the desert. Feel free to go have a look. I'm just telling you though, it's not on me if they're not there anymore.
Sure. And then you can forget about any nice words from us.
Hey, come on. Now you're just being unreasonable.
Really? And how do I know you're not leading us straight into a trap? Don't forget, you're the one with no bargaining chips.
All right, I get it. Why don't you go take a look, and if they're not there anymore, I'll try to figure out something else for y'all.
Now that's more like it. Let's move. And as for you, try to stick around the city until we get back. You don't want us to call the folks from the Corps and have them drag you back to the city.
Vale, ahora nos vamos a buscarles en la última ubicación donde hicieron el trato, ¿no? Hombre, si dice que están en movimiento no tendría mucho sentido que estuvieran aquí, ¿no? O sea, digo... Dice, están todo el rato en movimiento y esa fue la última ubicación donde les hice la entrega. Ya habrán pasado días, me imagino, a lo mejor, ¿no? Así que me imagino que ya no estarán ahí. Uf, ¿hacemos esto primero? Venga, va, que no nos cuesta nada. A ver, los barriles explosivos. Joder, pero el problema es que tengo esto aquí delante y no veo nada. Bueno, pues nada. Lo bueno de... ¿cuál me queda? Ese. Lo bueno de Yelan es que como sus flechas son de área, pues dan a más objetivos, por lo cual da a los barriles que son más tan difíciles, ¿sabes? Igual que Ganyu también pasa lo mismo.
Seems like we're in luck. That should be their camp right up ahead. Let's go. We'll finally get to the bottom of this ourselves.
Pues sí que están aquí, sí.
I'm here to see Kusela.
Toma, nos
Tell
vamos
him
a
to get
ella.
out here.
Como dije en el episodio anterior, dicen que ella está mal, que no está fuerte, pero bueno, a mí no, la verdad. Es como una especie de albedo pairo, ¿sabes? Porque albedo también pone un área en la que, pues, al golpear... No. Pues, claro, al golpear como que infunde pairo, esto. A mí se me mola. Se puede combinar con muchos personajes. Y a ver, a mí de Dehya lo que más me gusta es el aspecto. Debo decir que la estética de Dehya me encanta. A ver, flechitas tú. No, pero no te separes de la zona, hombre. El problema es ese, que encima la habilidad de Dehya tarda muchísimo en recargar. Eso es que me he dado cuenta, mira.
Haven't you all done enough?
Ojo.
Oh, so are you also here to stop
Es
us?
que la habilidad de Dehya tarda demasiado en recargar, tío. Y la ulti lo mismo, tío. Bueno, vamos a intentar cargarnos a estos. Me gustaría utilizar la ulti para cargarnos a los últimos, pero... como podéis ver, está complicado el proceso. Vale, si no nos dan partículas, en serio. Las partículas cuando las dan, tío. Me imagino que de ella funcionaba bien con una batería, ¿no? Las baterías básicamente es un personaje del mismo elemento que hace que recargue la energía rápido. Por ejemplo, si yo utilizara Jutao, ¿sabéis? Es que Jutao no es un buen ejemplo, ¿vale? Pero yo utilizo a Jutao. Y Jutao recarga la energía de Dehya, ¿sabéis? Porque al ser del mismo elemento, evidentemente pues obtienen la misma energía. Es decir, las partículas de Jutao son las mismas que las de Dehya, que son pyro. Entonces pues, eso sería una batería, ¿sabéis? Para que lo entendáis.
She's so strong.
Enough fighting. We all know each other, and I don't want to take things too far. Just bring Kusela to me. There's no use hiding him anymore. Did you understand a single word I just said? Or do I need to bash your skull in some more?
All right, everyone, let's all just calm down for a second. Dehya, the boss can't come out and see you anymore. He died a long time ago.
Hostias.
What?
Seems like you've been out of the loop for a while. Guess that's for the best, though. At least, that's what the old man wanted.
When did he die? What happened to him?
A few years ago, Kusela broke up Al-Ahmar and went to the Deshret's Relics headquarters by himself.
So is that when you guys started acting up?
We would prefer to call it taking revenge. Every last person in Deshret's Relics must pay in blood for what they did.
Así que al final se trata de un ajuste de cuentas.
Let me start from the beginning. Dehya, do you know how the head of the relics maintained order internally?
Overwhelming strength and unquestionable authority?
Those were a part of it, yes. But just those on their own weren't enough. They had another tool at their disposal. They called it a person's record. Regardless of whether they joined by their own will or were coerced, every person in Deshret's relics were forced to leave a record of themselves at headquarters. Whether it be their deepest sin, some unforgivable act, or their most immoral exploit, the record served both as a symbol of loyalty and the perfect material for blackmail.
Entonces, por eso Kusela fue hasta allí.
That's precisely it. Every one of us have a record. Me, Bashar, Tikriti, and all the boys who grew up with Dehya and ended up joining our ranks. But you, Dehya, you were never asked to provide a record, were you?
I never even knew this was a requirement.
You were probably the only person in all of Deshret's relics who didn't know about it.
Ever since you were born, Boss had been trying to shield you from this organization's sinister rules. Not only that, but he also banned all of us from committing any nefarious acts. He said he'd take care of the dues we had to pay regularly to headquarters. But in the end, he was just an ordinary person. What could he do? He was forced to go to headquarters again and again to account for missed dues and incomplete records. He'd come up with all kinds of excuses and get beaten up as a result.
We all knew he was doing that for you. He wanted to get you out of this world, no matter what it took.
And that's why he became a shell of himself and couldn't walk without a cane.
Wait, but that doesn't make any sense. I didn't know about any of this, and I'd never seen him get injured or beaten.
Because you were too young at the time. How would you ever tell between wounds from a beating and wounds from battle? When you left home after that final argument with him, he seemed to age by a decade overnight. Even his hair went gray.
So, even the blazing beasts were...
Yep. It was all his doing. Had he not arranged them to come to you, you probably would have been reduced to a pulp before you ever left the desert.
A few years ago, Boss said he needed to make another trip to headquarters. He was already pretty weak then, and we all assumed he was going to get beaten again. I suggested that he hand the role of leadership over to me, but he said there was no longer any need, since the Khan Al-Ahmar would soon be no more. His words made no sense to me, but that night, we heard that a massive fire tore through headquarters and razed everyone's records to ash.
Everyone gained their freedom that night. Many members fled, not just from our ranks, but from the other brigades as well. But how could we leave with a clear conscience? All of us who knew exactly what had happened.
The boss can't have just died for nothing. Those heartless jerks at headquarters took him from us.
From that point on, the sole purpose of the Khan Al-Ahmar became revenge. The big fire that Boss started was quite a blow to headquarters' strength. It's given us the opportunity to launch our attack. Even though we're outnumbered, we vowed to see our revenge through to the very end.
Pero también he destacado a otras personas.
There were people from headquarters who changed their names and went into hiding. Some fled to other brigades, and others escaped to the rainforest. But we won't let any of them escape our wrath. They'll all pay for what they've done.
We've suffered plenty of losses as well. To keep going, we need an enormous amount of supplies, from food and medicine to weaponry and explosives. All we can do is exchange our loot from Mora, and then use that to get supplies. We forged Boss's handwriting and sent out many letters to his former friends. Thankfully, many people were willing to come to our aid. We were also able to attract many mercenaries who shared our goal. We've endured unspeakable pain to win many impossible battles. Deshret's relics have become weaker and weaker, and now we finally have an opportunity to directly strike their headquarters.
Paimon doesn't know what to say anymore.
Responder a la violencia con violencia solo causará más daño.
We do know right from wrong, but we were sinners from the very beginning. We do not deserve the freedom that the boss won for us with his life. Boss always loved his old-fashioned hero stories. Those tales about sacrificing yourself to save the world. We used to always laugh at him for it. But in the end, he really went and lived those stories out himself. As for me, I never considered myself a hero. We're all the lowest of the low. We have no right to even imagine such an existence. But maybe those hero stories he liked foreshadowed everything that was to come. The spirit of the hero touched all those he had saved, and more people joined his cause. Maybe we were all just acting along with the play in the beginning. But as we acted the parts and recited the lines, we were drawn in. And now, we want to see the story through to the end. I'm sorry, Dehya. I know you always found us insufferable ever since you were young. Just think of this as a madman ranting.
I'll go with you.
Huh? Dehya? You wanna go with them?
I grew up with these guys, and I know they're not bad people. It's just that some situations get so bad that it's difficult to tell good from evil. All I know is that Deshret's relics must be destroyed. Furthermore, I want to go see the place for myself. I want to know if my father is still there. I know you don't want to get involved in this, so there's no need for you to tag along. I can do this on my own.
Estaré contigo hasta el final, Dehya.
Yeah. Paimon feels like we'd only regret it if we don't see this through to the end.
Thank you. We'll be a lot stronger together with you.
I bet Boss would lose his mind if he ever knew you'd join us at the very last moment like this.
Considering all the losses and injuries we sustained, we can't afford to turn down someone as powerful as you.
He can think whatever he wants. But the fact is, I owe him this much.
Bueno, pues la verdad es que al final el padre de Dehya, pues todo lo hizo por el bien de Dehya, por el bien de sus chavales, ¿no? Por su gente. Y al final, pues oye, me ha gustado, ¿eh? O sea, me está gustando esta misión legendaria, creo que es de las que más me están gustando, sinceramente, me parece muy interesante. Y ahora imagino que iremos a la guarida de los estos. No me gusta mucho el tema de la venganza, yo soy de los que piensan que ojo por ojo y acabamos todos ciegos, ¿sabéis? Yo soy un poco más de eso. De hecho, momento spam, en mi libro, El Rey del Fuego, se habla de eso, de que la venganza no es buena. Creo que nadie ha leído el libro, es decir, puedo ver quiénes han comprado el libro y no lo ha comprado nadie, por lo cual me imagino que nadie lo habrá leído, pero en mi libro se habla de eso, de que si tú matas a alguien por venganza, otra persona que está relacionado con esa persona te matará a ti por venganza, y otra persona que está relacionada contigo matará a esa persona por venganza, y así sucesivamente, ¿sabéis? Pero bueno, espero que os haya gustado, que lo hayáis disfrutado y nada, gracias por ver. Adiós.